All of a sudden, Senator Bernie Sanders of Vermont is the frontrunner in the Democratic race, as if tonight Sanders has by far the best chance in the whole Democratic Party of getting the nomination. So how should you feel about that? Well, if you're conservative, it's probably a little hard to take the whole thing seriously. For one thing, it seemed to come out of nowhere. Nobody expected it. Nobody on TV warned you it was going to happen. For another thing, Sanders isn't half as gut-level offensive as someone like, say, Elizabeth Warren. Unlike Warren, Sanders is obviously sincere about what he believes. He means it. He's got the right enemies, too. CNN appears to hate Bernie Sanders every bit as much as they hate Donald Trump. That's a plus. And like everyone else on the left, Sanders talks mostly about economics rather than Putin and non-binary bathrooms. And it's refreshing to hear someone focus on things that matter for once. Plus, it's not like Sanders is going to win the presidency. You keep hearing people on both sides saying there is no possibility, no chance in the world that Bernie Sanders will get elected president in November. And that sounds right, basically. The guy calls himself a socialist. Come on now. This is America. That's what we're telling ourselves. But are we absolutely sure that that's true? Well, ask yourself this. Who was the last candidate they told you on television could never, ever win? Oh, yeah, the current president. So ignore the people on TV. They're morons. They lack wisdom. They lack imagination. They're almost always wrong about everything. Of course, Bernie Sanders could win the general election. A year from now, we could be in the first months of a Bernie Sanders administration, and this would be a completely different country. What kind of country would it be? Well, tonight we're beginning a series on Bernie Sanders' America. We take Sanders seriously. We think you should take him seriously, too. So we're starting tonight with Sanders' views on immigration. It's a topic that affects this country on every level. For decades, Sanders had what would now be considered conservative views on immigration. He cared about higher wages for workers. That was his issue. Mass immigration lowers wages, so Sanders was against it. It's that simple. Then Sanders ran for president, and his views changed completely. Now, Sanders is as radical on immigration as anyone else in the race. For example, he's come out against virtually all deportations. All. Watch.
A moratorium on deportations for the 99% of the people is nothing to be cynical about. I think that is a significant step forward, and the undocumented community would be very proud of that. So,
ending 99% of deportations to please the undocumented community. You should know that that number includes violent felons. Sanders went on to say that only if an illegal alien commits a, quote, terrible, terrible crime, only then Sanders, quote, might consider deporting that person. Might. Now, Sanders wouldn't have to change any laws to do this. He could simply order federal authorities to stop deportations. He could do that day one. And that's his plan. Imagine what that would mean for this country. Foreign nationals commit crimes, and we can't send them home. But Sanders wouldn't stop there. He's planning to unilaterally enact many pieces of the New Way Forward Act. That's the lunatic piece of legislation we've covered on the show extensively. It's designed to protect criminal aliens. That's the point of it. Sanders has pledged to end the ban on deported criminals re-entering the United States. Why is that a good idea? He's pledged to eliminate expedited removal. That's the policy that allows obvious illegal aliens to be kicked out of the country swiftly. Over. He's promised to give discretion to immigration judges so they can protect any illegal aliens who somehow beat the odds and face actual deportation. Sanders has also vowed to end all workplace immigration raids so that big business will be able to rely on illegal immigrant labor with impunity. That's something he spent 30 years attacking. Now he's for it. And ending those immigration raids will be easy since Sanders is planning to abolish ICE.
On day one, through an executive order, we will repeal all of Trump's racist immigration executive orders. We will end the ICE raids that are terrorizing communities all across America.
Of course, businesses will have to import more of that illegal exploited labor that Sanders is suddenly for, because Sanders is also promising an amnesty for all current illegal aliens in this country. That's more than 22 million people. Of course, that's a move that will change the electoral balance in this country permanently, forever, and that's the real point, needless to say. Bringing those no illegal workers won't be difficult. Sanders plans to decriminalize illegal border crossings and abolish the Border Patrol. What is this? This is what radical open borders policy looks like. Sanders is arguing that everyone on earth has the effective right to come to this country anytime and receive the benefits of citizenship. In the Sanders administration, those benefits would include, but will not be limited to, free college, free health care, and full eligibility for food stamps and welfare. Now, we're not making this up for partisan reasons or to slam Bernie Sanders because suddenly it looks like he's going to be the nominee. This has been out there the whole time. No one's mentioning it, but it's all on tape. Sanders brags about all of it. Watch.
I believe that health care is a human right.
Senator, would you include the 11 million undocumented immigrants in that?
Absolutely. When I talk about health care being a human right, last time I heard that undocumented people are human beings as well. We need the best educated population in the world. That means we're going to make our public colleges and universities tuition-free and open that to the undocumented as well.
So why is anybody talking about this? People are jumping up and down on both sides on television because Sanders praised Fidel Castro, because Sanders is a self-described democratic socialist. That's bad, there's no doubt. But is it worse than what he believes on policy? It's not even close. You know what's way worse than anything he's ever said about Fidel Castro? His belief, his argument that anyone on the planet who sneaks into the United States should get free health care and free college tuition. That's the case he's making. So here's the obvious question. What would that do to our medical system and our universities? How long before they collapsed? Not long. These are some of the best things in our country. This is what we brag about. Gone. How will we pay for all of this, by the way? And if it's such a great idea, why is no other nation considering doing it? Why has no other nation ever done this? Sanders has no answers for those questions, the most basic questions. And in fact, he becomes angry if you ask him. He clearly doesn't care about the consequences of his plans. Why? There's really only one possible answer, because he doesn't care about the United States or its future. It's obvious that Sanders hates the country he seeks to lead. There's no other explanation for it, and that is a very dangerous quality in a president. This show will continue to bring you a series on what life would be like under a Bernie Sanders administration, because there's a lot there, and none of it's gotten attention. It's more than just praising Castro. Trust us.